Hugh Hewitt live in Studio West for another 2 weeks. A good Holy Thursday to you and a happy Easter coming up. I'm joined by Fox anchor of Special Report, Bret Baier. Good morning, Bret. Happy Easter to you.
Morning. Happy Easter, Hugh.
Now, I am always not surprised to learn some things that you are even-handed, fair, and balanced, but I am always surprised at your capacity. I see yesterday that you are launching a graphic novel series, The History Club, for kids. And I am very encouraged by that because I got 5 grandchildren. They're all the ones that can read are readers, and they will eat this up. Tell me about the History Club.
Oh, man, it's so much fun. You know, I've been really into the history kick, as you know, and I've had the series, the 3-day series, and now the To Rescue the Republic, and coming up this fall To Rescue the Constitution, about the Constitutional Convention. And I've really gotten into that. But the reason I did it all was to have books that are readable to our generation and younger, but really hit young kids, because I think that there's a lack of history understanding. And I tried in my first series of books to kind of have young reader editions, and that worked a little bit, but I think that really to hit kids, you got to do something that kids would read on their own.
Bret, and, I've got an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, The Scholar and The Flash, and they both are always with a nose in the book, and they love things like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. They love all the Harry Potter. They love all of that, but they've run out of stuff, frankly, and they've never had the kind of books I grew up with, which were fictionalized accounts of the young adults in American history.
Exactly. So Rush Limbaugh did it really, really well with his Rush Revere series, and I read that. My kids loved it, and I thought, is there a way to do something different, but that hits this next generation? So we came up with the History Club, and I teamed up with a great illustrator, and this is a story about kids that are in a history club that is in contests about history, and they are visited by this time traveler who needs help to battle this evil villain, Time Twister, and he's trying to change events in history, and you don't know why, but he's trying to screw up events in history, and they kind of have to put things back together. And so they go back through time, and this one deals with Alexander Hamilton, and it bounces around in history, but all of it is rooted in real historical fact, and it's kind of in the graphic novel, but it's in a way that's really readable. And
I salute you. I cannot wait to give these to my grandkids. I've been waiting for something like this, and congratulations. I don't want to give your illustrator no credit, but it really does depend on the story. You can have wonderful illustrations, but if you haven't got the story down, it ain't going to work. So good luck on the story. How many do you plan?
You know, I don't know. We kind of started this process. I know we get 2 definitely in the hopper. This is the first one, and you know, if it takes off, who knows? It could be a bigger thing.
Just a thought, Bret. Just a thought. Yeah. I'm finishing the novel Tomorrow After Tomorrow After Tomorrow, which is a real reveal on the millennials and what gaming has done to their understanding of time and story, because they spend thousands of hours on games. And I'm not decrying that. I'm just saying it's a fact of life. But how they view the world is different. And graphic novels, they see everything in pictures. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I know. And I test drove it with my kids, and they thought it was really cool. So I said, wait a second, they think it's cool? You know, and so I think it's going to work.
Is there a video game lurking in the background here?
There could be. There could be a cartoon. There could be a video game. I mean, I'm really excited about it. And the best part about it is that it's rooted in like actual real history. It's not fake stuff.
Let's get to the hard news. The Masters begins today. Jason Kokrak is always my favorite of Warren, Ohio. I like to tell people we played on the same golf team, only 40 years apart. And so Jason has not won a major. I'm hoping it's this weekend. What do you think? Who's the favorite?
Well, I tell you what, he hits it a long way.
Yes, he does.
I like Jason Day this week. I like Jordan Spieth, but my heart goes with Rory McIlroy, because, boy, I'd love to just see him win the Grand Slam, and he's playing great. So if he can get out of his head and just have fun this week, hopefully he scores well.
Has it occurred often on Easter weekend?
It's rare. I mean, it's every other kind of 3 years. I've been down there on Easter weekend. Unfortunately, I can't get down this year, but it's just a special week, and even non-golfers get into it, which is really fun.
Oh yeah,
I have a pool with my family. They're all golfers. My wife not really, but we just did it this morning. We picked 4 golfers, and it'll be fun.
Did anyone take Jason?
Yeah, Kokrak?
Okay.
No, Jason Day.
No, that's too bad. You've been warned. Now let's get to the really, really hard news. The center of the Bragg indictment is empty. The underlying felony is not there. The Sixth Amendment guarantees defendants the right to know what the charges and accusations are against them. The DA gave a rambling press conference, but it's not in the papers. That's why I believe even the lefties I follow, like Preet and Neil Katyal, and I listen to, they won't touch this case, Bret. There's a Grand Canyon in the middle. Is that becoming obvious to everyone?
I think it is. I mean, you listen to Andrew McCabe and all of these folks on TV saying, the there is not there. It will have to be there in the Bill of Particulars, but it really is a little bit of thin gruel. That said, as you know, it's the start of an avalanche of legal activity for the former president, and I don't think it's going to stop. I think the fact that this one happened first gives him more ammo, and you heard that in that speech, to talk about all of those things that are coming down the track, some of them more potent legally than this by far.
I've got a great friend, Jan Janura, who has a phrase that I've stolen. I'm a ready, aim, fire guy. So I held fire on Bragg until after I could read the statement of facts and the indictment. I'm not going to talk up or down the Georgia proceedings or Jack Smith proceeding because I don't know, and nobody knows.
Yes.
But I do know that this indictment ought to be dismissed. Andrew McCarthy and I spent 30 minutes talking about it yesterday. The key here is the dog that didn't bark, the charge not named, and the lefties not defending it. So can you find anyone to come on special report to say, yeah, this makes sense. This is really a valid resurrection of these misdemeanors that are 7 years old?
I have not yet, and I'm not searching for it because you're not. It's like a needle in a haystack. I think there's a lot of experts on both sides of the aisle who say it's not there yet, and they'd like to see what else Bragg thinks. He said in the news conference he didn't have to put it in this paper, but when you go forward with something this big, this monumental, and you bring in a former president and arrest him, it seems like you should lay it all out. And to your point, the Sixth Amendment says you have to. The Sixth
Amendment, it's to me, it's not an option. And Andy McCarthy had a wonderful phrase, Bret. They ought to be up under the judge's toes yesterday. Bring in the motion to dismiss, but I saw Joe Tacopina, who I gather is going to be the principal talking head for the Trump legal team, saying, expect a motion in July. I think that's nuts, but...
Yeah, it seems like a long time. And boy, this timeline with December, the decision on the motions, and then January, the start of a trial potentially, I mean, what else is happening in January? Well, let's see. Iowa caucuses, New Hampshire primary. I think it's really tough to believe that this is all going to go forward. But you never know. Jonathan Turley said that Bragg may be betting that this judge says, look, we dressed up. Why not go to the dance? And I don't know if that's going to happen.
Okay, last question, Bret. I asked this of Jim Talent last hour, and I've been asked it by lots of people. Will any would-be presidential candidate now pause because of the surge in sympathy for appears to most people on the center right as a political prosecution for Trump? I don't think so. Jim Talent didn't think so. What do you hear?
Well, I don't think that it'll stop them from moving forward to run, but if they were planning on a launch in the next week or two, I think they're going to wait for the hurricane to pass. After 2 weeks of coverage, maybe come out and say, I'm the candidate that's going to give you Trump policies, but not the chaos and other things. I assume that that's going to happen. You already have Asa Hutchinson, former Arkansas governor, and, is talking that way, but I think there are others who will try to get on that bandwagon.
I agree. A pause for peace. That's what's going to happen. Bret Baier, happy Easter to you and all the Bears. Congratulations on the History Club, and people should follow Bret on Twitter, and you'll find the art graphic there. It looks fabulous, and you can pre-order it now. Bret Baier, thank you, my friend. Have a great special report tonight.